Good afternoon. I'm Keaton Hall. We're seeing COVID-19 cases increase again in our region. Doctors tell us they're seeing an increase in COVID patients at their hospitals, but they're facing another issue. On top of increased COVID numbers, not having enough staff. WIMT's Dakota Makris explains.
Dr. David Worthy with Baptist Health Corbin says we are in the middle of a COVID outbreak, but most cases are mild.
We are seeing much more than 2 months ago where we got down to, just 1 or 2 or 3 cases a day. So we're higher than that. We're somewhere between 10 and 20.
Viruses change through mutation, meaning sometimes mutations result in a new variant of a virus. Right now, we are seeing BA4 and BA5 Omicron variants.
Just like the flu, you can have a mild drift where the genetic code shifts a little bit and you can kind of get it again, becomes contagious, or you can have a major shift in which you kind of have a really strong variant. That happened from like the original to Delta.
He says hospitals in general are struggling, not because of COVID-19 patients, but because they cannot find employees to take care of their COVID and non-COVID patients.
So what's worrisome is even a minor surge come this fall, it's going to be very difficult to take care of those folks because we have less staff.
A lot of younger nurses are turning to travel nursing.
They're not onboarded at orientation like the rest of them. And so that's what's creating a problem right now. And it's a substantial problem across Kentucky and much of the nation.
Dr. Worthy says they are working on incentives for staff.
We're looking at, of course, getting the salary right. We're looking at a cafeteria of benefits. We're looking at increasing help with educational assistance.
Hoping the recent increase will not stress staff. Dakota Makris, WIMT Mountain News.
The CDC recommends people get their COVID vaccine if they have not already and get a booster if you can. Kentucky's not the only state to continue feeling the effects of COVID. In New York, the Staten Island Ferry is cutting back service due to an uptick of COVID cases among staff members. The ferry is known for getting residents and commuters to and from Lower Manhattan to Staten Island in 25 minutes. The free ferries usually run every 15 minutes during morning and evening rush hours, but through July 26, they'll now be running every 20 minutes during those rush hours in order to spread out workers. And from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., ferries will run every 30. In addition to COVID among employees, the union representing the ferry workers says a national mariner shortage is also to blame for the cutback in service. Countries outside the United States are also feeling an uptick in the number of COVID cases. China reported nearly 700 new local COVID cases today. That's the highest number of daily new cases the country reported since May. The Omicron subvariant BA5 is spreading nationwide, with many cities under full or partial lockdown. All this amid a heat wave in the country, with temperatures soaring to as high as 42 degrees Celsius or 107 degrees Fahrenheit. Omicron's BA5 subvariant is dominating among COVID cases in the U.S. It's caused 78% of new infections across the U.S. last week. That's up from 69% the week before. According to data from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the rise of the subvariant over the past 3 months has corresponded to an increase in cases, hospitalizations, and deaths in the U.S. and Europe. It's also driving a wave of breakthrough infections and reinfections that has caused health officials to warn the public to pay attention to COVID levels in their communities. They're also warning to take action if needed, for example, wearing masks indoors and taking rapid tests before gatherings to mitigate the spread of the virus.
Hot weather continues to make its trek into the mountains as we head over the rest of the work week. And some of us are going to have to deal with some storms before then. However, one of the places, well, it's not here in Hazard. Out front of our studios here at WIMT, blue sky, just fair weather clouds this afternoon as we continue to warm up to the middle and upper 80s. I-64 at Moorhead. Those clouds not getting too high in the atmosphere, meaning, well, we're all quiet. Temperatures low to middle 80s around the region. A few upper 80s. Somerset and Monticello checking in at 88. Dew points, though, are in the middle and upper 60s. Even some low 70s out there, so it certainly feels rather muggy. And with the mugginess comes a few pop-ups into portions of Whitley and Knox counties, south of downtown Barberville, east of La Follette there in Campbell County. And as you head over toward the Lee County, Virginia and Claiborne County, Tennessee line, that's where a downpour is right now just south of US 58 into southwest Virginia. Still watching a few, in fact, one right over near Wise at this point. That'll be heading toward Castlewood over the next little bit, and a few more kind of surrounding Clintwood at this point. And we had one shower a little bit earlier over toward the eastern side of Morgan County. It's long gone. All is going to be quieting down. Not that it's that active right now, but all is going to be quieting down as we head through the rest of tonight. So keep that WYNT weather app handy. You just might need that interactive radar. We're down into the 70s into tonight, even a few upper 60s for us as we start off our Wednesday. The very latest on when more showers and storms could work in, and if those could be on the strong side. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Keaton.
Thank you, Evan. Russia's President Putin went to Iran this morning seeking support for his war on Ukraine. And according to the White House, new drones. As Russia steps up its rocket attacks on Ukraine, the human cost of the fighting is growing. Holly Williams has more from Kiev, the Ukrainian capital.
Another fallen Ukrainian soldier, carried on his final journey by his comrades in arms. Another mother caressing a casket. I didn't have a chance to kiss you goodbye, she says. Ukrainian fighters have been celebrated for their bravery in the face of Vladimir Putin's invasion. But it's left this country counting its dead and mired in grief. Ukraine's defiant resistance continues, aided by new, more powerful weapons from the US and its allies. But make no mistake, this war is costing thousands of Ukrainian lives, and there's no end in sight.
This war threatens to just devolve into a grinding war of attrition.
Colonel Andy Milburn served in the Marines, doing tours of duty in Iraq and Somalia. Go. Now he's in Ukraine training frontline troops with a group of other retired US servicemen.
We have only 5 days typically. If we're lucky, 2 weeks maximum to bring a guy who has never fired a weapon, never even handled a weapon, to where now he is in the front line. They're under, Russian artillery fire. So a lot of these guys getting killed and wounded without a chance really to do anything.
Draped in Ukraine's blue and gold flag, this soldier was buried with full military honors. The cost of Ukraine's courage is being paid in blood.
Ukraine's government won't tell us exactly how many of its soldiers have been killed. But in May, President Volodymyr Zelensky said that his country was losing between 60 and 100 troops every day. Holly Williams, CBS News, Kyiv, Ukraine.
The White House Tuesday released a new executive order relating to U.S. hostages and detainees. The order will allow the administration to impose sanctions and visa bans on those involved in hostage taking and wrongful detention, and also aims to create more transparency between the administration and detainees' families when it comes to sharing intelligence information. While some families of those detained applauded the order, others say not enough is being done and remain frustrated by efforts to get their loved ones released. The administration announced it'll also start using a new indicator on State Department travel advisories for individual countries, warning travelers that a U.S. citizen is at risk of being taken hostage or wrongfully detained in certain areas. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, millions of Americans are facing temperatures that could feel like 100 degrees or higher.
Plus, while the heat dome is going to grab the headlines, we've got the potential for some strong storms as we head into tomorrow night. The very latest is coming up.